Well, guys, it seems it's fine now, but I'm gonna show you two quick games I had with a friend that was playing Sky Striker. Like, we didn't have much time, like, to playtest, and no one is willing to playtest against Sky Striker. I could have played online, but I'm too lazy for that, so I'm going to just show you a bit of how to play the deck. I actually misplayed, so this deck's hard. So let's go ahead, and I will explain you as I play. So I won the dry roll. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro is a bit special because it's easy to know when your opponent has like no answers. So yeah, I used that a bit, but yeah, let's not get too much into that. At this point, I knew he had like no hand traps, so yeah, if he would had a hand trap, I would have been in problem. I'm gonna pause it here. The reason as to why I went up with brothers is because uh, regardless, I didn't have match plays, right? And regardless of what had happened, an extra card would have been more helpful than just not doing anything because I couldn't set up boards with this hand. I mean, I couldn't set boards, sorry. I wouldn't be able to do something else with this hand. Like, ending here with Appaloosa wouldn't have been helpful. I could have ended up with Abramax, but ultimately I decided to go for Isolde and King Constantine. This way I would be protected from 3 attacks and I would be able to potentially take out 3 back rows. As you are going to see, I make the correct reading by doing that. So let's go ahead. In this case, he's just going for standard Sky Striker plays, and we're really not in a hurry, right? And he flips up like literally one of the worst cards, which is the Hercules base, and then he's going to make his Sky Striker stuff. He's he's trying to here. My friend tried to set up a big turn 3. Well, I mean, in this case, it would have been turn 4. The problem is that he basically allowed me to do the same thing. I went up with brothers because King Constantine had one brothers underlaid. The reason as of why I didn't go for Iactar or Lanzalin in this case is because I was already able to deal with the 3 back rows, one with Aphrodite and 2 more with King Constantine, so I really didn't need that extra push, right? So this was just better for me, and the intention would be to grab Galahad in my turn with Noble Arms are needed again, which would complete the circle because then I would be able to normal summon brothers again, and then take off or and then pretty much summon all of my hand, taking advantage of pretty much a lot of tempo. So that's one thing I did here. So I pop one and then I boop 2 away. I go for Solda to see if he has an answer. He doesn't. I go for Lanzalin and then I get a free card because why not? And then I get a bad card, but I don't care. I go for Galahad. And I flip it here. I could have flipped it later, but I thought I might find something useful. I didn't. So, and then here's one thing. This this play is important. Like using king to destroy your own cards, it's pretty critical because as you can see, I here I have a lot of plays, right? This is a part where I misplayed. I should have used Akhtar and leave Akhtar instead of Lonzalin because in that way I would have been able to amass more advantage. I mean, at this point the game was lost, but regardless. So that's one thing. I draw a card, and here my friend scoop it up because he knows that under normal circumstances I wouldn't have misplayed. So yeah, instead of there were many ways to finish up the game. This is the reason as of why he scooped. Like summoning normal Authoricos would have been enough. Like I've told you, Actar and then swapping this Medrod for yeah, Lonzalin again. Like it would have been way too easy, right? So he scoops because we didn't have any need to keep on playing. As I misplayed, it was a naughty game. So that's the other thing, and the other game I wanna show you is this one. I won the die roll again, and this was actually an okayish hand. It was actually kind of baddish, but you're going to see what I did. So again, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro is special. I knew he had no hand traps by this point, so if he had a hand trap and his soldier wouldn't have resolved, then I would have ended in King Constantine by using Brothers, Pellinor, and drawing a card. I would have kept the Wallhabat in hand, and I would. So that's one thing. So because I knew he didn't, so that's one thing. I drew a card. The reason as of why I played this useless Galahad here was because Galahad here was because I wanted to keep up the tempo. The next turn I already have my normal summon slot used for mid road, so while keeping the Galahad in hand would have helped me with keeping more cards in hand, because I couldn't play it next turn alongside the Medrod. It would have been pointless, so this is why I put it on the board. It's another threat he would have to clean, and with Destiny there and Dristan, it wouldn't have been that easy, so that's why I summon it. Again, if you look closely here, this field is prepared to deal with 4 back rows. Like the amount of stuff of resources needed to stop this push is not normal. Like pretty much any not unfair deck is going to lose here. Like at this point, King Constantine is actually really insane, even if he's not a quick effect. So let me show you. His hand was actually really good with double engage. So and universe. He decided to get greedy and to get the draws with that shit. At this point, Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro didn't allow me like to chain to the resolution of engage, because when we draw a card for engage, I should have been able to chain the until noble arms are needed once again, but the system didn't allow it. So what we did here was to use the Metal Fusion just so I could chain stuff and I could summon Dristan. I get the card. The Call by the Grave is going to be an important card, so let's keep it playing it. He's going to have to destroy Dristan. Here, I don't think he misplayed. Like destroying Destiny or not was not important, but I mean being really strict, passing Destiny to Galahad or Isolde was not a good play. So he's going to keep drawing stuff because engage is really fair. It's really fair to be a card. He even gets the anchor, and then he sets up like the biggest turn ever with triple engage. This is important because the new Sky Striker deck is so slow for anything. I mean, stuff like Arcus is likely a problem here because they're not going to be able to deal with all of these engages. But this deck really doesn't have this issue. If you look closely, like these 2 back rows are not important at all because I knew he set them with a multi-roll. So we only had these 2 back rows to deal. And I knew exactly which cards were. So what happened here is that I just had to use I summoned Lanzolin for good measure, but I just went away with those. He steals my King Constantine. Here I made a misplay with Isolde, as you are going to see. Instead of summoning brothers here, I should have summoned it here below Isolde, below Shizuku. And yeah, regardless, it wasn't a big misplay because the game I wasn't able to win the game as I don't run double or nothing. So it's not that much relevant, but still was more car advantage. As you can see here, this Galahad gave me the brothers, which allows me to play my entire hand. That was important. So then I get another card. I returned Dristan just so I could summon him again next turn, in case. But then again, my opponent's so far behind that I don't think it matters. He chooses not to summon with Shizuku because remember that Shizuku is not living, and then he had like no way to take off that Shizuku, that Ray from his field. So I think it was the correct play. So yeah, remember here the Eagle Booster. If I didn't misplay, I would have been able to land an extra rank 5 king instead of this guy. Like he would have been in another slot, but but yeah, then again, it doesn't change much. So regardless, he's going to have to deal with Isolde, which is powerful, and then two floaters. I don't think he's in a good position at all. And then again, when he attempts the comeback with Net Universe, I just banish up the Kagari, and then he's like, well, what do I do now? It's like, I don't have a multi-role, I don't have an anchor, it's like there's literally nothing I will be able to do here. And he just keeps throwing bad cards, solemn or bad cards, sorry. And then he's like, well, this is pointless. I don't think I can win this game. If we look at his deck, I don't know if I'm gonna rewound it quickly to the last part. Well, if we look at his deck on the last game, he literally only had like this thing, this thing, the Hercules base, but the Hercules, one of these only, but the Hercules base was not really important though. So yeah, if you look closely, there was nothing here. I mean, it's his fault for not playing until there can only be one. If he played like there can only be one, we would have actually lost this game. I don't think we have lost it because we had Tristan, but we would be in some disadvantages because he would have flipped it in turn one, and then yeah, it wouldn't have been that easy. But yeah, that card's going to one likely next list. So